Hello, this presentation is about PCB designing workshop with EDA software. First, replace PCB advantage and the need for EDA software. In this session, I say what is PCB, why PCB, what's schematic, reality-based EDA software, most popular EDA softwares. What's PCB? Printed circuit board or PCB is used to mechanically support and electrically connect electronic components using conductive pathways. You can see example of this. Using conductive pathways, tracks, or signal traces. You can see tracks or signal traces. Tracks or signal traces etched from copper sheets laminated onto a non-conductive substrate. It is also referred to as printed wiring board, PWB, or etched wiring board. You can see etching and copper sheets laminated onto a non-conductive substrate. Why EDA software and PCB? Before proceeding to the actual software tutorial, it is important to understand when it is absolutely necessary to use a PCB rather than the design with the breadboard. Most students have a reluctance to learning new software and spending money for something they could possibly build on the breadboard if we use circuits that they are a few components, simple components, frequency lower than 10 MHz. We call them simple circuits. We use breadboard wiring on edge and a strip board. Circuits that there are a lot of components, complex components, frequency higher than 10 MHz. We call them complex circuits. We use PCB. So, what is simple components? Traditional packaged through-hole components. For example, axial resistor, electrolytic cap, and other. PIC, and etc. What is complex components? Very small package and assembly package. For example, QFP, MLF or QFN, BGA, LJ, and others. You can see pick up some wiring circuits with breadboard, strip board, sheet, and this sheet on air wiring. Oh, and PCB, and again strip board, and again breadboard. Breadboard versus PCB. Breadboard advantage. Quick prototype using standard components, easy change to schematic for the functional working of the circuit. Disadvantage of breadboard. Difficult to troubleshoot due to human error and poor connections. Works very poorly for high-speed design and excessive capacitance. Difficult to modify complex assembly components for prototyping, unprofessional appearance. Advantage of PCB. Easy to assemble and replicate excellent high-speed capabilities, repeatable, 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 repeatable and controllable, straight inductance and capacitance, power requirements, compact, professional appearance. Disadvantages of PCB: increased increased design time, increased cost, difficult to modify once board is fabricated. Must learn CAD software. Quality of PCB can be affected by limited knowledge of PCB of software package. Capabilities vary greatly with different software packages. High-end CAD software is very expensive. Why we use PCB? PCBs must initially be designed and laid out, but become cheaper, faster to make, and potentially more reliable for high volume production since production and soldering of PCBs can be automated. For simple circuits, we can use copper-clad dielectric with hand drawing and hand making, but for complex circuits, we must use EDA software for design and professional manufacturing for making PCB. Does any standard exist? Yes. Much of the electronics industry's PCB design, assembly, and quality control needs are set by standards published by the IPC organization. You can Google IPC PCB and see results. What's schematic? A schematic diagram represents elements of a system using abstract graphic symbols rather than realistic pictures. Symbol vs reality, schematic vs reality. A schematic usually omits all details that are not relevant to the information. The schematic is intended to convey and may add unrealistic elements that aid comprehension. What is schematic? For example, a subway map intended for riders may represent a subway station with a dot. The dot doesn't resemble the actual station at all but gives the viewer information without unnecessary visual clutter. What schematic? For example, a schematic diagram for a schematic diagram uh, of a chemical process use symbols to represent the cells, piping, valves, pumps, and other equipment of the system, emphasizing their interconnection paths and suppressing physical details. In an electronic circuit diagram, the layout of the symbols may not resemble the layout in the physical circuit. In the schematic diagram, the symbolic elements are arranged to be more easily interpreted by the viewer. More about schematic. In electronic design automation, until the 1980s, schematics were virtually the only formal representation for circuits. More recently, with the progress of computer technology, other representations were introduced and specialized computer languages were developed. Since with the explosive growth of the complexity of electronic circuits, traditional schematics are becoming less practical. For example, hardware description language (HDL) are indispensable for modern digital circuits design. Schematics for electronic circuits are prepared by designers using EDA electronic design automation tools called schematic capture tools or schematic entry tools. These tools go beyond simple drawing of device and connections. Usually they are integrated into the whole IC design flow and linked to other EDA tools for verification and simulation of the circuit under design. Reality vs EDA software. Real components, schematic symbols, PCB symbols. Lead is equal to pin on schematic symbol and equal to pad on PCB symbols. PCB symbols, we call it PCB footprints. Conductive equal to wire on schematic symbols and equal to trace or track in PCB. Net or net in schematic is equal to net in PCB. Most popular EDA softwares, PCAD and Portal, are now Altium Designer and belong to Altium company. OrCAD Layout and Allegro PCB Editor is belong to Cadence company. CADStar CR 5000, CR 8000, and in these softwares is belong to Zuken company. This is a Japanese company, and Zuken Zuken has powerful softwares. Pads and Expedition belongs to Metro Graphic company, and we have free EDA software. For example, Eagle 123 PCB, JEDA, KiCad, and etc.